question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. He started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists. He's banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board. He says about the poor boys, last time we were on stage here, he said, I told them to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
Birtherism is racist. Saying immigrants from Mexico are rapists is racist. Saying there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville is racist. Calling African countries shithole countries is racist. And telling 4 members of this body to go home is racist.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
You know, we've heard it all for years and years and years. Donald Trump is a racist. And guys, I finally found the proof. I'm not sure why we never saw this proof in all this time, but I guess some things you just don't need to see. You know, if enough trusted experts without an agenda say something enough, you know, just the fact that a thing is repeated enough times, I guess that'll do. We'll accept that. I mean, that's enough for me, right? This, of course, this is exactly what the left believes. They rely on people to just take their words for things. And just, they rely on people to look at things in the aggregate. And if you just look at things like Fang Fang's boyfriend there said at the top, if you look at it all together, it's a pretty bad picture, right? But like all things Trump, if you look one by one, line by line, piece by piece, every single one of them falls apart, because when you look line by line, these are the kind of things that you're going to find.
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, well, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness and his commitment, while his success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of people. Last year, he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. Jesse started off by saying, most of the wealth in this country is in the hands of a few. And I thought to myself, is that a bad thing? What's wrong with that, Jesse? But he did have an expression last year, and I was just telling Roger, he had an expression last year, the wall on wall must fall. And you haven't used it today, and I'm very disappointed in this, Jesse, because I thought it was a great expression. And I heard the expression about 14 times, and then he came to me at the end of the session, and he said, listen, I want some office space in your building on Wall Street, because the wall on wall will fall. And I said, it's okay, Jesse, I'll make a good deal with you. I'll get you some space. You'll pay about $40 a foot. And he said, no, I don't want to pay 40. I said, how about 30? No. It was the cheapest deal I ever made in the history of 40 Wall Street. Is that right? He got it for nothing. He's a very tough negotiator. We know that, right? Nah, he's a terrific guy. We love him, and I'm here for him. And the snow came, and I said, gee, nobody's going to show up, and look at this place, it's packed. Well, I'll just say a few words. I mean, Wall Street and New York City and this whole region is doing unbelievably well. I'm building a job on the west side, which is the largest job ever approved by the New York City Planning Commission. You see it going up along the West Side Highway. It's almost 10 million square feet. It's 18 buildings, and it's really going to be something. I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up. And they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward to some questions, and then I don't know how we're ever going to leave this building today, because if you look outside, it is terrible. But we'll figure a way. There's always a way. And thank you, Jesse, and congratulations.
And with all of that wealth, Trump wants a free ticket to the fair tonight.
You know, the left doesn't want you to see that. Most of them also, they would not believe it if they saw it themselves. And the ones that will believe it, they'll talk about how that was just some sort of act, or he was different then, or whatever mental gymnastics they'll use to convince themselves that Donald Trump is a racist and Joe Biden is a civil rights leader, a beacon of hope, because everything with them is a zero-sum, unnuanced, binary game, except for, of course, things that actually are, you know? But anyway, you know, this was a time when Donald Trump, one of the richest and most successful men in America at that time, was one of the few people supporting Reverend Jesse Jackson's initiatives for the poor, his attempt at the White House. You know, just a reminder of how much better of a man Joe Biden is, was, and forever will be. This is what Joe Biden was doing around that same time.
Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
In my opinion, that's everything you need to know about Joe Biden in just a few short minutes. And in case your liberal translator is on the fritz, he's talking about black men born out of wedlock. Because, by the way, the state, as part of the liberals' Great Society, incentivized that. They encouraged that, and they basically ensured that. So he's talking about black men born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without structure, and his best part, without any conscience developing. He actually said that. Someone wrote that for him, and he actually said it. And he looked passionate about it. You know, he says those people should be focused on by the government, but not the kind of focus that the liberal wants you to believe that they have, not some liberal instinct for love that he put it, but for simple reasons. And what he meant by that is they should be targeted for imprisonment, because if we don't, there will be animals in our streets, he said. He even acknowledged that we created this problem, but he goes on to say that just because we're responsible doesn't mean we shouldn't lock them up to protect our families, which in reality, hindsight's always 20/20, but members of his family used the exact same drugs, committed the exact same crimes, but were held to a different set of rules because I guess they weren't beyond the pale, as Joe put it. But guys, that is almost tough to watch. So what happened after that? You know, did anyone ever make an effort to fix this, to atone for that horribleness you just saw?
Everybody.
President Trump showcasing what would be the most sweeping prison reform agreement in decades
and if it passes, one of the biggest bipartisan laws of his administration.
Americans from across the political spectrum can unite around prison reform legislation that will reduce crime while giving our fellow citizens a chance at redemption.
The deal would loosen restrictions on certain federal mandatory minimum sentences, give judges more discretion to sentence people who've committed minor crimes in the past, and extend a 2010 law that could help federal drug offenders serving disproportionately long sentences.
We're just putting a lot of people in jail for a long period of time who I think need to be back out on the streets working.
The rollout comes exactly a week after Jeff Sessions was fired as Attorney General. He opposed many of these changes, and so do a handful of conservative lawmakers.
Color me doubtful.
The White House points to support from law enforcement groups like the Fraternal Order of Police. Dozens of celebrities also back the plan, including Kanye West. The president's billing this agreement as bipartisan, but no Democrats appeared at tonight's event. As for timing, Republican leaders suggest it may not come up for a vote until early next year.
You know, to me, it could not be any more clear who these two men really are. You know, the one thing that Joe Biden and Donald Trump have in common is that every single word that the left says about them is false. Every single one. You know, Joe Biden has only hollow words. Donald Trump has action. And I'll tell you this, you know, the Bible repeats itself quite a few times on this topic. We will be judged according to our works, not according to our words. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, be a part of the channel's growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.